If you are considering moving to Texas this year and are unsure of the costs associated with purchasing a home, especially in the state of Texas, or perhaps you're working with a realtor and they haven't been exactly direct in giving you this information, then this video is for you. Hello and welcome. I'm Danielle and I'm a realtor here in the Houston suburbs, and I help you either build or find your dream home before relocating here. If you are looking to move to the area and would like information, feel free to message me. I would love to help you out. Buying and selling a home is no easy task, and if you are moving from another state to a new state, it can be even more daunting since every state has different policies and fees and a totally different market landscape. Today, I will break it down into 5 different categories that you can expect to have expenses with when purchasing a home here in the state of Texas. The initial expenses you can expect when purchasing a home, the additional expenses you can expect once you're under contract, the lender and title fees, and finally, what you can expect with property taxes and home insurance here in Texas. If you would like an easy to read breakdown of these numbers as well as a checklist on what to expect, you can click the link down below for a free download. Obviously, these are all estimates. It's going to come down to your own personal financial obligations, as well as the part of town you're looking at and the cost of the home. These are just general guidelines and estimates for you to have a starting point on what to expect. Initial out-of-pocket expenses. This is the cash you'll need on hand once you are under contract. It can vary a little between new construction and resale properties. Earnest money deposit. This is on average typically about 1 to 2% of the purchase price. If you are buying new construction, it could be a percentage or a flat rate. It does vary per builder on what they're going to expect for earnest money. If everything in the contract goes as planned and you go to closing, then this money will be contributed towards your closing costs. The next one is option fee money. Here in Texas, the buyers pay the sellers for their due diligence time. This is an opportunity for you to get a home inspection, renegotiate with the sellers if things are found, or just simply get out of the contract without any penalty. Usually it is about $25 to $100 a day. However, we do pay it as a flat fee. If you continue on with the contract and everything closes, this money also gets contributed to closing. If for whatever reason you want out of the contract, then this option fee money goes to the seller. Home inspection, although not mandatory, it is very necessary so that you understand and are aware of the condition of the house. Typically, these are about $400 to $1,000 depending on the size of the home, and that is for a general inspection. If you need a swimming pool inspection, HVAC, roofing, or a more specialized one, then there could be additional costs. The actual cost of the home, a lot of people think that what they offer or what the house is listed for is what the house is going to cost them. And however, that may be true, especially in a shifting market now where buyers are having a little bit more negotiating power. There are a lot of things and fees within the contract that are negotiable between the buyer and seller that you should really budget for. Another thing where you could have more money within the contract is paying for the owner title policy. In a traditional transaction, and more often than not in Texas, the seller pays for the title owner policy. However, if you are looking to make your offer more competitive, you could offer to pay this, and that is usually about 0.5% to 1% of the purchase price. And lastly is the HOA fees and transfers. This is also entirely negotiable between the buyer and seller. However, sometimes the seller requires the buyer to pay for the transfer fees and anything else associated with the HOA, which could cost anywhere from a couple $100s to thousands of dollars. And lastly is the survey. Your lender and title company will need a copy of a survey, and if one is not available, typically, especially in a market like today, the buyer is required to purchase this, and this could be anywhere from a few $100s to $1,000. All right, some fees associated with the lender and title company. The first one is the appraisal. You are responsible for purchasing the lender appraisal, and that could range anywhere from a couple $100s to $1,000. Survey, again, I just talked about this, but it will be on your closing costs and net sheet, and this can range anywhere from a few $100 to $800. Lender fees and title and document fees, these will both vary significantly depending on what lender you use and what incentives they're offering you, as well as what title company you are using. However, you can expect quite a bit of money here, anywhere from $1,000 to a few $1,000s in this area. And realtor fees. As a buyer, this is typically covered by the seller or the builder. However, in some rare cases where the seller does not want to pay it or the builder doesn't, it may be up to you as the buyer to compensate for representation. This doesn't happen very often, but it is something to be aware of. The last thing I wanted to go over are the Texas property taxes and the home insurance pricing here. This is usually an initial sticker shock when people move here to the greater Houston area. We have higher than average property taxes here in Texas, and in the greater Houston area, especially in some of the Houston suburbs, we have property taxes ranging from 2.4% all the way to 3.7%, which can almost double some people's mortgages. Another thing to keep in mind is that property taxes can change from neighborhood to neighborhood. Some of the older homes might have lower property tax, and some new construction may be in an area with a lower tax rate. So every house you look at, just make sure you are watching and looking at the tax rate. And also property insurance. We are a city prone to flooding. If you are in an area that has a greater risk of flooding, then your insurance is going to be much higher. Just like health insurance, the insurance here in the area can vary greatly, but it is something that you are going to have to budget for and be aware of, especially if you were looking in flood prone areas. I hope some of this has been helpful and helping you understand some expenses you can expect when purchasing a home here in Texas. If you would like the printout of this and an easy to read breakdown, please click the link down below. And if you would like to message me for more assistance on purchasing a home here in the Houston area, go ahead and message me. I would love to help you out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.